The sun was setting in Los Angeles, its red lights casting long shadows across the streets. Elon Musk sat in a modest hotel room, his face illuminated by the glow of a computer screen. It was not the typical setting for a billionaire, but the starting point for a highly unusual social experiment. Musk sat back from his chair, pondering an idea he had been considering for weeks. For years, he had heard stories of people being judged by their appearance, stories of indifference, cruelty, and, occasionally, kindness. How would people treat me if they didn't know who I was? He wondered aloud. The concept was not new to him. After all, Tesla and SpaceX faced their fair share of skepticism in their early days. But now he wanted to experience this on a deeper, more personal level. This wasn't just idle curiosity. Musk had always believed that empathy and innovation were intertwined, that you couldn't build for humanity without understanding its diverse realities. He decided to conduct a social experiment to see how people treated those they considered less fortunate. Dressed in worn jeans, a faded t-shirt, and scuffed shoes, he grabbed a backpack he'd bought from a friend. Inside were just a notebook and a bottle of water. He looked at himself in the mirror, barely recognizing the man in his reflection. Pleased with his transformation, he left the room and walked toward his destination. A luxury car dealership in Beverly Hills, where million-dollar transactions were as common as breakfast. The store had caught Musk's attention during his research. It was renowned among insiders for its exclusivity and reputation for catering only to the elite, perfect for what he had in mind. As he walked into the store, the contrast between his appearance and his surroundings became starkly obvious. Luxury sports cars passed him by, and pedestrians in designer clothes avoided him. Musk felt the sting of judgment even before he entered. When he reached the store, he paused to catch his breath. Through the glass walls, he saw a showroom gleaming with luxury vehicles. The walls reflected displays of sports cars and SUVs that most people could only dream of owning. Musk pulled his hood down over his neck, took a deep breath, and stepped inside. The experiment was about to begin. The moment Elon Musk opened the heavy glass door, the atmosphere changed. The warm, air-conditioned air carried the scent of leather and cleaning products, a stark contrast to the heat outside. Eyes flickered toward him briefly, and just as quickly, they looked away. His disheveled attire and disheveled appearance were in stark contrast to the opulent surroundings of the store. At the back of the showroom, a well-dressed salesman was in the middle of an enthusiastic presentation of an electric car. Nearby, a man in a sharp suit gestured around a luxury coupe, nodding approvingly. Elon scanned the room, noting the forced smiles and sidelong glances in his direction. He wasn't just being noticed, he was being avoided. A receptionist, seated at a gleaming marble desk, offered him a fleeting smile before quickly turning his attention back to his computer. Musk approached, adjusting his backpack. "Hello, I'm here to ask about your cars," he said, his voice calm but firm. The receptionist's eyes scanned Musk's face before he answered. "Do you have an appointment?" he asked, his tone professional but clipped, as if he already knew the answer. "No," Musk replied simply. "I'll see if anyone is available," the receptionist said, though his body language betrayed his reluctance. He picked up his phone and mumbled something to a colleague, casting another furtive glance at Musk. A moment later, he straightened and gestured vaguely toward the cars. "Feel free to look. Someone will be with you shortly." Musk nodded, thanked him, and walked deeper into the showroom. The closer he got to the cars, the clearer it became that he was being avoided. Salespeople who hadn't been busy suddenly found reasons to look busy, flipping through folders or typing furiously on keyboards. Customers gave him uncomfortable glances, their conversations dropping to hushed tones. He approached a cobalt blue convertible parked beneath a mirror. Its angular design radiated power and elegance. Musk stepped back to inspect the tires, running his fingers over the rear end and then stepping back to look at the spotless interior. He made a mental note of how meticulously the dealership maintained its inventory. It didn't go unnoticed that he was still being ignored. "Can I help you with something?" a voice asked behind him, dark and impatient. Musk turned to see a middle-aged salesman in a yellow suit. His expression became carefully neutral. "Yes," Musk replied evenly. "I was wondering about the price of this one." The salesman's eyes narrowed a little, looking away from the worn jeans before landing on Musk's face. "It's quite expensive," he said, his voice trailing with a tone of disdain. "Perhaps something in our used section would be more suitable." Musk straightened with a barely noticeable smile. "I'm interested in this model," he insisted, pointing to the car. The salesman walked away, visibly weighing whether he should get more involved. Finally, he said, "I'll check it out for you," before leaving. Musk watched him go, noting that he did not return. For the next 30 minutes, Musk walked around the showroom, testing reactions. Each interaction, if it could be called that, followed a similar pattern. Politeness mixed with skepticism, quickly followed by indifference. It was clear that he was being judged not by what he said, but by how he looked. And yet Musk was undeterred. He was taking mental notes, noting every detail with the precision of an engineer. This wasn't just about the cars. This was about the people. And his experiment was far from over. Elon stepped away from the display of high-performance cars, taking his time to inspect every detail, from the trim on the wings to the car's design. He knew the paint job was immaculate. But it wasn't the cars that captured his focus. It was the people. Every now and then, he tried to engage the team, asking about specs, warranties, and customization options, only to be met with evasive or noncommittal answers. At one point, he approached a trio of employees standing near the espresso machine. "Excuse me," he began, gesturing to a black and white luxury SUV prominently displayed in the center of the showroom. "Can anyone tell me more about this model?" The three exchanged glances, smiling faintly. One of them, a tall man with perfectly coiffed hair, stepped forward. "This is one of our more exclusive models," he said, his voice dripping with condescension. "It starts at $150,000, but I'm not sure it's what you're looking for." Elon raised an eyebrow, challenged by the tone. "And why is that?" he asked. "Well," the man said, hesitating long enough to make his point, "it's quite an investment, if you know what I mean." "I get it," Musk said, letting the words hang in the air for a moment before adding, "Thanks for letting me know." The salesman turned back to his colleagues, saying something that drew a silent smile. Musk caught the most poignant part of the conversation. The guy probably can't even afford an oil change. Despite the disdain, Musk's expression remained neutral. It wasn't the first time he'd faced skeptics. In fact, he found the reactions fascinating. Still, an underlying burden of frustration began to build. Was it really so easy for people to give up on someone based solely on their outward appearance? As he walked deeper into the room, he heard snippets of other interactions. A well-dressed man was being lavished with attention. A team of salespeople practically surrounded him as they extolled the virtues of a limited-edition roadster. Another customer, dressed in designer clothes, was offered complimentary champagne while discussing customization options. The disparity could not have been starker. At one point, Musk found himself near an employee who was busy rearranging brochures on a counter. Unlike the others, this person did not laugh, scoff, or avoid any kind of interaction with Musk. He walked over and watched the employee sort through the materials. "Excuse me," Musk said, his voice cutting through the silence. The young salesman looked up, startled but not dismissive. His gaze flickered over Musk before settling on something neutral, even genuine curiosity. "Yes, how can I help you?" the salesperson asked. His tone was humble but cautious. "I was wondering if you could tell me more about this model," Musk said, gesturing toward a sleek, futuristic electric car. "Sure, my pleasure," they replied immediately, setting the brochures aside. "What would you like to know?" For the first time since entering the store, Musk felt like he was being treated with respect. The employee began explaining the car's features clearly and enthusiastically, taking the time to answer each question Musk asked. His approach was professional, free of the arrogance or skepticism he had encountered before. As the conversation unfolded, Musk found himself smiling, not because of the car, but because of the person in front of him. He made a mental note to investigate further, to see if the actions were consistent or just an anomaly. The experiment was changing, and Musk could feel the growing momentum. The young salesman led Musk to the car he had pointed out earlier. His energy was strangely different from the rest of the team. "This is one of our most popular models," they began gesturing to the car. "It combines superior performance with advanced technology. Let me show you some details." As they talked, Musk noted the details of their approach. There was no trace of the evasiveness he had encountered before. Instead, they were patient and engaged, even enthusiastic. They opened the car door, inviting Musk to come closer. "Feel free to get in," they offered. The seats are made from eco-friendly materials, and the dashboard integrates seamlessly with smart devices. Musk climbed into the driver's seat, his fingers gripping the steering wheel. "What's the range on this one?" he asked, looking up at the salesman. "About 300 miles on a full charge," they replied confidently. "And it charges to 80% in less than 30 minutes if you use a fast charger." Their answers were quick, thoughtful, and refreshingly straightforward. Musk pressed further, asking about customization options, safety features, and the availability of test drives. The salesman answered each question with the same level of respect, never wavering in his professionalism. "You seem to know a lot about these cars," Musk commented as he stepped out of the car. The salesman smiled, a hint of pride in his expression. "I've always loved cars, especially those that push the boundaries of innovation. That's why I got into this operation. I wanted to learn more about the frontiers of automotive technology." Musk nodded, intrigued. He could see that this wasn't just a job for them. It was a genuine passion. It reminded him of his own early days, when people would doubt his ideas and give up on his vision. He looked around the room, wondering again, noticing how the other employees kept avoiding him. His attention settled on the wealthier-looking customers. The contrast between their demeanor and this young employee's sincerity was impossible to ignore. "What's your name?" Musk asked. "Jordan," they replied. "And yours?" "Elon," he said simply, offering a small smile. Jordan didn't hesitate, didn't give the name a second thought. To them, he was just another customer. And that was exactly what made the moment so meaningful. "Thanks for your help, Jordan," Musk said. "I really appreciate it." "Sure," Jordan replied, his tone warm and genuine. "Let me know if you have any more questions. I'll be right here." As Jordan left, Musk sat in silence, processing what had just happened. It wasn't just their kindness or professionalism that had gotten to him. It was their integrity. Jordan hadn't treated him differently because they thought he was important or rich. They had treated him with dignity simply because it was the right thing to do. This was the moment Musk had been waiting for. The time to reveal his identity was approaching, and with it the culmination of his experiment. Musk stood near the entrance, watching Jordan move deftly between tasks, helping other customers with the same level of enthusiasm and care they had shown him. The other customers continued their parade of indifference, oblivious to the crucial moment that was unfolding. Taking a deep breath, Musk decided it was time. He approached Jordan, who was organizing a box of promotional materials on a counter. "Jordan," he began, his tone calm but carrying an unmistakable weight. "I have one more question for you." Jordan turned to him, smiling. "Sure. What do you need? What's the most expensive car you have here?" Musk asked, his voice calm. Jordan paused, a little taken aback by the question. "That would be the Crimson E-Class up there," they said, pointing to a gleaming futuristic automobile displayed under soft lights. "It's fully loaded with all the options and is valued at over $250,000. Musk nodded mentally. "And how long would it take to finalize a purchase if someone wanted to?" he asked. Jordan tilted his head, considering the logistics. "We'd need some paperwork, proof of financing, and insurance details. It usually takes a few hours. Are you interested in this car?" Jordan asked thoughtfully. "Very much," Musk replied, a smile playing on his lips. "I'll be honest, Jordan," he said cautiously. "Most people don't make decisions like this on the spot. Are you sure this car is right for you?" Musk asked, smiling slickly. "Oh, I'm sure." Before Jordan could answer, Musk reached into his backpack and pulled out a black and silver card, one that immediately caught the attention of the receptionist and a few other employees watching from afar. The Platinum Tesla card, reserved only for Tesla executives, gleamed in the showroom lights. Jordan's eyes widened slightly, but he quickly composed himself. "Wait, are you Elon Musk?" he said, extending his hand. "Nice to meet you." A wave of silence swept through the store. Conversations ceased, heads turned, and all the employees who had previously ignored Musk now looked up. Their faces were a mix of disbelief and terror. The man they had judged and despised was, in fact, the same icon of success and innovation. Jordan's hand shook slightly as he shook Musk's hand. I didn't realize. I thought. You thought I was just some random guy, Musk concluded, his tone amused. You thought I was just some random guy. You treated me with respect when no one else did. That says a lot about your character. At the back of the room, the older salespeople who had previously sneered and avoided Musk now moved closer, hoping to salvage what little dignity they had left. Musk's gaze flickered over them briefly before returning to Jordan. I'll take the E-Class, Musk said, loud enough for the entire showroom to hear. In fact, I'll pay for everything, and while we're at it, I have another offer for you. An offer? Jordan asked, clearly confused. Yes, Musk replied. How would you like to join Tesla? We're always looking for people who care about what they do and how they treat others. From what I've seen today, you're a perfect fit. Jordan's mouth opened slightly, but no words came out. The room was so quiet that the sound of the air conditioning seemed deafening. Finally, they managed to speak. I don't know what to say. Say yes, Musk said with a smile. We can work out the details later. The other employees sank into their seats. Their earlier arrogance was replaced by apologies. Musk didn't mind acknowledging them further. They made their choices and the consequences were clear to see. Yes, Jordan said, his voice shaking but steady. I would be honored. Musk patted Jordan on the neck. Good. Now let's sort out the car, shall we? While the paperwork for the car was being finalized, the atmosphere in the store changed drastically. Where before there were excuses and apologies, now there was silence and tension. Customers who ignored Musk watched desperately as he interacted with Jordan. Their expressions betrayed a mixture of apologies and envy. Musk leaned back against the counter, watching the scene unfold around him. It wasn't revenge that he found satisfying. It was validation of his experiment. In a place ruled by status and appearances, one person demonstrated that friendship and integrity could still shine. After signing the final documents, Musk turned to Jordan, who was still processing the whirlwind of events. This isn't just about the car, Musk said, his voice calmer now, almost reflective. It's about what you did today. You didn't judge me. You treated me like I mattered, even when you thought I had nothing to offer. That's rare, and it's something the world needs more of. Jordan smiled, his eyes shining with a mix of pride and excitement. I just did what I thought was right. And that's exactly why I know you'll go far, Musk responded. He paused to look around the room, his gaze briefly landing on the senior staff. They looked away, their confidence replaced by palpable discomfort. Musk didn't need to tell them anything. His actions spoke volumes. Before leaving, he addressed the room, his voice carrying an air of authority. Judging people by their appearance is easy, but seeing beyond that, treating everyone with respect, regardless of who they are or what they look like, is the true mark of character. With that, Musk walked out of the store and into the sunlight. The moral weight of the day fell on everyone who witnessed the event. The whispers that began when he entered were replaced by a thoughtful silence. Every person in that room was left with a question they couldn't ignore. How many times have they judged someone unfairly, and how many opportunities have they lost because of it? For Musk, the experiment provided more than he expected. It wasn't just about testing perceptions. It was to reaffirm his belief in human potential. Beneath the layers of prejudice and prejudice, there were always individuals willing to stand up, to act with empathy and decency. As he walked toward his waiting car, Musk couldn't help but smile. It wasn't the car or the revelation that made the day worthwhile. It was the simple fact that someone showed kindness when it was least expected. And in the end, that was the real lesson. Looks can be deceiving, but the heart never lies. If you like this video and it brought some value to you, watch the next one. The next video will add more value to you. Leave a like. Your comment is very important. Subscribe to the channel. Recommend this video to a friend.